Alright, this is what infuriates me about neoconservatives like Marco Rubio. He takes a shot at Rand Paul because Rand Paul agrees with the president about lifting restrictions on Cuban economic activities, specifically some of the embargoes that have been in place for over 50 years. Let's just read part of this. And then it goes on. I think it's unfortunate that Rand has decided to adopt Barack Obama's foreign policy on Cuba, Rubio told radio host Mark Levin. He basically repeated the talking points of the president. And that's fine. He has every right to support the president's foreign policy. That's who he wants to line up with. But I'm telling you, it isn't going to work. Well, let's look at a few things that he said. Well, the past 50 years, how have the embargoes worked out? They haven't done a darn thing, right? And this is not the 1960s anymore. I mean, look at this carefully. He decided to adopt Barack Obama's foreign policy. So, in regards to Cuba. So, are we in the 1960s anymore? Let's just ask that question once again. Because this is not a foreign policy matter. We are not at nuclear war with Russia, or in the process of going to nuclear war with Russia/Cuba, like with the Bay of Pigs scenario. But if you want to look at another situation, let's just look at some of the background in regards to Cuba and Castro. Alright, so I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, and this is Earl T. Smith. And you may ask, what does this have to do with Cuba? Let's read. Earl T. Smith was a United States foreign diplomat ambassador to Cuba. Oh, we had ambassadors to Cuba? Yes. This is in the 1950s and beforehand. 1957 to 1959. Okay, so let's get this straight. This individual, he's the ambassador to Cuba. And let's just read what he testified to the Senate committee. And the subject was communist threat to the United States through the Caribbean. During the hearing, Smith made the following analysis of evolving situation in Cuba and U.S. foreign policy in the region. If we are to intervene sufficiently to bring about the overthrow of dictatorships, then we should intervene to whatever extent is required to fulfill our promise. Otherwise, in my opinion, we must wait for the normal self-deployment of a people and not assist revolution. And we must be prepared to receive the criticism of supporting friendly governments recognized by the United States, although they have been labeled dictatorships. To make my point more clear, let me say that we helped to overthrow the Batista dictatorship, which was pro-American, only to install the Castro dictatorship, which is pro-Russian. So what he's basically saying is that the United States aided Castro followers through the CIA and other means, arming and supporting these rebels, and eventually Castro got into power. And what ended up happening was, even though Batista was a dictator, right, what came about next was Castro, who was more brutal than Batista on all accounts. So if you look at this and you see Marco Rubio says Rand Paul knows nothing about Cuba, essentially saying that he is not Cuban and that he's not a neocon. Well, we need a history lesson for individuals like Marco Rubio, who always wants to intervene in foreign affairs. I mean, remember Syria? He wanted to aid the rebels. Remember that situation? Total neocon. And some of the progressives also did too as well. So it's not only neocons. But long story short, when you see individuals like Marco Rubio saying, hey, we got to intervene, but what happens after that intervention? You create something much worse. So, yeah, there you go. I think that these neoconservatives need a history lesson on what happens. You intervene more, then guess what? You create more problems. I mean, these guys understand that if you meddle in the marketplace, right, you create distortions, right? Look at housing, look at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all that. They got it after the crisis. And, yeah, it's just bizarre to see this kind of theater or theatrics in politics. We all know that both parties are paid off for, and then both of these sides, you have some individuals that are much better than others, and then others like Rubio who are full of crap. Anyways, guys, what do you think about this? Leave your comments below, and I will talk to you later.